Welcome to another episode of the Pepper Soup Talk Show, where we bring to the table movers and shakers in the African diaspora. And so we believe this is going to be a very special episode. We got with us business owner and creative, also a bodybuilder too. He's going to talk to us about different businesses and brands that he's either built or worked on. But one topic we're especially excited to cover is a topic of self-love. In 2005, he started a company called Ugly. Ugly One. Which he'll tell you what it means, but it was built around this concept of self-love and something that has played a part in different aspects of his life. And when it comes to self-love, that's something that plays a part in all of our lives. And so we're excited to have this conversation and bring value to you in this Pepper Soup Talk. And with that, welcome to Pepper Soup Talk, Michael Tull.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, make sure to bring the mic to you. Yeah.
There we go.
Cool.
Yeah, so I appreciate it, guys. Welcome me into your home. Yeah, explain and talk a little bit about this this business that I created in 2005.
Yeah.
I'll explain to him. Ugly came about. I was a all-natural bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Did a lot of bodybuilding shows, and I was modeling at the time, about 10 years in.
Okay.
And people would come up to me and say, "Oh, you have this beautiful life. Look at you. You're built this way, and you're modeling. You're making money." And what they didn't understand is I was depressed. I could hide that. I was really good at hiding depression. And at the pinnacle of it, I was saying to myself, I need to create a clothing line. And even step it back, I had a first apparel line called The Original Fat Gear, which was extremists on their days off. And this is what they would wear. So I already knew the apparel game.
Yeah.
So I decided I wanted to do another negative word, but kind of make it stand for something positive. So ugly was the best word.
Yeah.
Everybody thought I had this beautiful life. Ugly was the best word to use.
Yeah.
And the strength of that word out of the dictionary. Nobody wants to be called ugly. Nobody.
Right.
Even when I wore the first apparel line, people were like, "Hey, ugly," it kind of stung a little bit.
Yeah.
It stung.
Yeah.
Because you're like, you don't want to be called ugly.
Yeah.
So I went to this iron-on Michael's or something, made an iron-on shirt and put UGLY on it.
Yeah.
And walked around just to see the reaction that I get. And people were like, "Well, you're not ugly."
Yeah.
I was like, "But you don't know nothing about me."
Yeah.
You know nothing about me. So with that, the week later, I sat down, I was like, really trying to break down the acronym. It had to mean something. So, because that's how I create. You just don't make something without, you have concept to completion. So I had my concept, but it had to mean something. So I sat down, I was like, you gotta love yourself.
Yeah.
All right. And I was like, oh, but you gotta love yourself. I was like, I'm the ugly one. Like, I'm the one. I came up with this. I'm the ugly. So you gotta love yourself first was born. And so then I started sketching out some, as a creative, you come up with something, then I'm sitting there just sketching out logos of how I can make this relate.
Right.
The initial, I wanted to give it layers, and that's the thing about Ugly One. There's so many layers that you can take it. My tagline, if you ain't ugly, you should be. Right? So, funny.
Right.
People are like, that's funny, if you ain't ugly, you should be. But when you understood it, you gotta love yourself first. It totally changed the dynamic of, if you ain't ugly, you should be.
Right. Like you're flipping it.
Yeah.
You're flipping it.
I flipped it. Even my license plate said "Got Ugly."
Yeah.
Right? So people laugh at it, but once they knew what "Got Ugly" stood for, what it meant, it totally changes the depth. And I said, that's where I started. I break your ice by making you laugh, but then now I got you. You see, now I got you.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to start really getting your heartstrings like, okay, you think it's funny, but now let's start talking. Then let's start talking.
Right.
Yeah, so then I said I developed a whole bunch of different taglines, funny things, but the idea of it was to scrape those layers away from people to understand the importance of, like I said, like fashion fades, ugly's forever.
Yeah.
And all these people, like especially like the vanity that's going on now on TikToks and stuff, that all goes away. Then what are you left with? What are you left with? A lot of these people, like this fake vanity and they get stuck in it.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to have an ugly story. I always say that. You might not have it now, and God bless them, they're making them, but what happens when they're all stripped away? What are you left with, and how can you get through things?
No, for sure. And we definitely want to peel back the layers in this conversation, and also talk about how you even landed at the concept of how you chose to focus on the idea of self-love as well, because that takes a level of vulnerability to do. And but just to take things back, you know, can you talk a little bit about where you're from?
Okay.
Where you grew up?
I'm born and raised in Reading, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Went to school in Philadelphia for architecture.
Okay.
Spring Garden College in Chestnut Hill. Went there for architecture, and that's where I've always had a creative mindset.
Yeah.
But then when I went to college, it helped me really focus on like how do you create, how do you design. And in '91 when I came out of school, 'cause I told him I'm 50.
Yeah. and Chestnut Hill is one of the areas because we went. Well, I went to school in Philly. Went to school in Delaware, which was close. But I remember when I was in school here, I was. I feel like if you go to college here, more than likely you're probably in some sort of bubble.
Yeah.
Like, you're not seeing everywhere that's around. And then when I graduated from school and I stayed here, I started getting to experience other parts of the city.
Sure.
And one of those was Chestnut Hill.
Yeah, Chestnut Hill's real nice.
I was like, Chestnut Hill is nice.
I have money to be in Chestnut Hill.
How was it growing up in Chestnut Hill?
It was funny because me personally, in my life, not to even give you some history, my father was one of the first black state police in Pennsylvania.
Really?
Yeah. So he went to Hershey, had a trooper school.
Okay.
And so my dad already he made history.
Yeah.
So and then when we lived in the city of Reading, he moved out. We were the first black family in the neighborhood.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. The first black family in Chestnut Hill.
No, I'm sorry. In Reading, and this is in Reading.
In Reading. Okay.
So we were the first black family in this neighborhood.
Okay.
But I was too young to even worry about anything.
Yeah.
And when you're a kid, you're a kid. You
right.
And
you're just taking in what.
So my best friend growing up was white. His family taught me how to water ski, snow ski. So I was opened up to a whole different lifestyle, a whole different thing. And I accepted it, and they accepted me.
Yeah.
You know, so being in that, so I never saw color in any kind of way.
Yeah.
You know, and my mom, she was nothing but love. Like it just came off of her. Like everybody knew my mama. Like everybody knew her. Didn't matter who you were.
Wow.
She'd be holding up a baby in this hand, cooking in one of those.
Yeah.
You know, one of those. So growing up in Reading, in this area, like I said, I was too young to know about racism.
Yeah.
You know, my dad and my mom protected me from that.
Yeah.
But I never really experienced it because when you're a kid, like you say, you don't know. Somebody's calling you a name or giving you a mean look. You just out there, whatever.
Yeah.
You know. So from Reading, and then I went to tech school, Reading High, senior high, and then I went to a tech school, which I was doing architecture drafting.
Okay.
And then my teacher said, "Oh, you really should go to school of architecture because I think you have an eye for it."
Yeah.
So I went to got into Spring Garden College, and that's where like my eyes opened up for architecture and creating and design. And when I got out of school in '91, the economy was bad.
Yeah.
So, and I was a true creative. You can't put me in a box, which is kind of funny now because creative forums are more open.
Yeah.
You know, the designs they're not in cubicles.
Yeah.
It's hard to put somebody like this in a box like this. You know what I mean? So it was hard for me to work in architecture firms or that setting because I felt like I was in a box.
Yeah.
So I did all these other things, and that's how modeling came into the picture. So I was doing just everything besides being in this box.
Right.
Because it's just in my mind. It was hard for me to contain. I just wouldn't survive in the containment like that.
Yeah.
Unless it was my own thing.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother dynamic.
Yeah.
So, growing up from college, and then I ended up in Lancaster.
Yeah.
And I was explaining to him one of my first clothing lines into the apparel game was a joke. But I had my first bodybuilding show. Then we had a pig out party, right? And we made a T-shirt that said, because my ex is a graphic designer.
Yeah.
She was in the graphic design world, so I could use my creative mind. She could lay it out for me. So we called a pig out party, and it said the original fat gear, and it was like based off like Fat Tuesday being a pig for a day. Yeah. And then these are what the clothes you wear when you're just relaxing. So that's that whole idea was how my first apparel. So I knew the game.
Yeah.
And I also knew like people wanted these shirts. So you always talk to your friends and your family to buy the first apparel line. Because that just brings the money in. You give them discounted rates, not much, but you give them discounted rates. And then then it's supply and demand, and you just snowball it. So we move up to, then I was doing all this bodybuilding stuff.
So right now you're in college at this point? Or
I'm out of college.
Out of college.
And then I ended up in Philadelphia with my ex.
Okay.
I'm sorry, in Lancaster.
Gotcha.
Lancaster.
And before we get to that point, so there's something you mentioned going through grade school, growing up in Reading, that you didn't really see color, like that you accepted.
Never saw
people you're around, people accepted you. What was there a point in time that you feel like you became, or rather, like when was a point in time where you became aware of the fact that I
remember one particular time, and I always can tell stories about my dad. My dad would always say, because I was young, so my dad was out at one point raking leaves. And this is when there was still door-to-door salesmen. And someone said, "Excuse me, is the owner of the house home?" And my dad's like, "No." So, you know what I'm saying? So my dad was like, "No, he's not." And it's so my dad really he was very funny about situations, made light of it. So, but I would see it, but like I said, I was protected. I wasn't worried about. And the neighbors, of course, once, you always hear it's like, "Oh, there goes the neighborhood." That theory. But once they found out my dad was a state cop, they were like, "Oh, we have somebody in the neighborhood protected." Different mindset. It wasn't a hoodlum. It was actually somebody that was serving protect. So we never got that. We never got that tension. Never got that tension.
Interesting.
Never had that tension. And I was blessed that way. Because never had those type of somebody coming on our door and like. Like, "Yeah, you shouldn't be in this neighborhood." No, nothing like that, man. Nothing like that. But like I said, they knew my dad was a cop.
Right.
my dad had ammunition.
Probably didn't want to mess with him.
You know what I'm saying?
So you think it would have been different if he wasn't a cop? Like,
I don't know. I don't think so, because my parents were hard workers. Carried themselves well. Nothing weak about them. So somebody trying to scare us off, it wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have worked at all. And my mom was one of those. She's like, "You're not gonna come and tell me I can't be somewhere." And that was instilled in me. You can be anywhere you want to be. Don't let somebody tell you, like, it's like, what, and like I always said, singer, what do you want to do? It's like, what do you want to be? It's like, so all these different things in my life, with the support system, and then said also the acceptance of another color, where I didn't see it because the accepting of it. I mean, even families I went into, "Oh, Michael, welcome." So, I really never had that tension. And then when I became a little bit older, I really didn't care about the tension. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not, no, man, don't waste my time with that. I got stuff to do.
Right.
So it was up that, because there's a lot of different dynamics of people, the way they're treated, where I never had that confrontation like that. And if it was when I was young, I didn't even realize it. No, I was ignorant to it because I didn't see it.
Right. I feel that, and I feel that. Okay.
So growing up in Reading, and then we're in that first black family, it was all good. It was all good.
Okay.
And you have a nice importance, and I could change. Let's put it this way: didn't realize I was changing the way people looked at us by being a kid. They're like, "Wow." There's a little black kid, and then it's like, there's Michael. Changes the way they see me.
Interesting.
So first it's like, "Who's that little black kid?" Then it's like, that black kid went away to like, "Oh, there's Michael." Same thing with college. Like I was talking, so I was the first, all these first. My dad was the first state cop. We were the first black family. I was the only black kid that played soccer. Loved soccer. I loved it. And I was the only black kid on the soccer team. Went to college. I was the only black kid in my program. To the point where the professor's like, "Why don't you think there's more blacks doing this? We're in the city." And I was like, they don't know about it. See, and this is where, looking back, that they wouldn't tell us what we were capable of. I had teachers, I had parents. You should try architecture. Back in those days, no one was like, yeah, you'll be something, but you're not going to be this. Where my teacher was like, cared about me.
You were staring that direction.
And my soccer coach cared about me,
Yeah.
because they saw my potential and
Yeah.
they weren't going to cut that potential off. No matter if it was sports, academics, they weren't going to cut it off, and they were going to push me because they saw my potential.
Got you.
Which teachers and coaches should do.
Got you. Got you.
Not saying they're going to do it, but that's what they should do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
I sound like Toby had a.
Oh no,
question.
so I just wanted to know, like, what was the growing up in Reading, and Lancaster? Even right now, it's kind of like a rural area.
Well, I mean, where we lived in Reading, it was more on the outskirts of the suburbs of Reading.
Yeah.
So then I moved to Lancaster with my ex, and where we lived was it was like a small city, but more country city. But I really didn't have any tension in Reading. You know,
Okay.
I found the right people to hang out with. You get to that point too, when like I was in college and I had the cliques that I hung out with, and just like and people that protected me, and you know, we protected each other. I mean, Lancaster, I just outgrew Lancaster.
Yeah.
Like I said, in the midst of it, I was modeling in New York City, and Lancaster was trying to be a city. I was like, man, you guys are way late. They were so happy they got a rooftop, like a rooftop bar. I was like, man, I've been on 1,000 of those, and you're probably happy we got one. Yeah. So, but it was a great place to develop and have my kids. It was very community based. It's very community based, Lancaster County. But the difference, I tell people, the difference with Reading and Lancaster, if you tell somebody Reading, yo, don't tell somebody something. Yeah. Reading people like, I bet. You go to Lancaster, don't tell somebody something. And next, you know, like, man, I heard, like, yeah. So you had to, but I wasn't from there. Right. I wasn't from there. Right. I moved there. I wasn't from there. Yeah. You know, so you had that difference. You know, people treat you with respect. Yeah. You know, but if they didn't, like I said, I didn't sit there and just like, man, what? Right. I don't have time. Right. I don't have time. Right. Trying to develop what I'm trying to do with life. Yeah. You know, trying to get married, have kids. Also, all that, like, to presidents, you know, they sit there and worry about what he or she, you know, saying to you.
You kind of, you're okay.
So going off of what you were saying, so from college you got into architecture.
Yes, sir.
But what was the transition? You were saying you were doing other things because you felt like you were on the box.
Right.
So how did this opportunity or the gateway of being a model open up?
I was a waiter, and one of my repeat customers said, Mike, you ever think about modeling? Which I never thought about. And so I knew of an agency in Reading. Yeah. So I was in Lancaster at the time, and I reached out, met him, and we were talking. And he goes, oh, there's some photographers in Lancaster County where you're from. And said my ex was a graphic designer. She was working on a photo shoot with one of the girls on the list. Oh, wow. So I met this girl. Yeah. She took pictures of me, sent them to an agency in Lancaster, Mary Bowman, sent pictures to her, and she's like, oh, I want to meet this guy. Yeah. And then that's kind of how it slowly developed, and I started learning more about the industry, you know, just going on casting calls and things like that. So as that was kind of part of my life and I started just getting more knowledge of the modeling. Like I said, I wasn't like, oh, I want to be a model when I grew up. It just kind of happened. Went to a big scouting search company in Baltimore, and that's when they had like all these agencies from New York City, Florida in this one room, and they kind of just like pick and choose who they liked at the time. And the Ford agency out of New York took a look at me, Nova out of Baltimore. So these are some high-end people that are actually, well, they're like, oh man, I could be legit in this industry. Yeah. So I kind of just started like, let me think about it. Yeah. You know, I'm trying to keep my stuff together, working out, you know, eating right, and I did okay. Yeah. You know, I wasn't full time. They didn't cart me to Paris or anything like that. But you know, I've been in magazines, been on TV commercial, like so. And it put the biggest paid job I had was a BMW ad, 3 hours, 10 grand. So yeah, I was going to model. But I told him I was never the point like I'm a model. That's not how it was. It just beauty is in the eye of the client, is what I tell people. Like, beauty is in the eye of the client. If they like you, they like you. They don't, they don't. And I never took like, oh, I didn't get, not because I looked. It just wasn't the part for the job.
And around what year was it that you were modeling?
I started modeling 28, so 1998.
Okay.
And through 30, wow, in 30s or late 30s.
Okay.
Yeah, so
okay.
I was like, so it was like it was a stint of like 13 years.
Yeah.
That I was part-time.
Okay.
But I was really dedicated because when I got into the Ford agency in New York, the Ford agency called my phone, and I thought it was a prank call.
Yeah.
Because the Ford agency doesn't need to call anybody. and let me tell you what, this was 2 years. You remember the old comp cards that we used to send out? They had a comp card for 2 years that they had at their office.
Yeah.
They knew someday they were going to call me. 2 years.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, which comp card do you have? They're like, we have one that's this blue trim. I'm like, whoa, that's old. So I knew they had it sitting there for a while. So that's why I thought it was a crank call.
Yeah.
So I went to New York City, got in, and I was with the Ford agency for 5 years.
Yeah.
But every time they called me, I went to New York. I could be on a bus back to Lancaster.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, can you be up tomorrow? Yep, I'll be up. I changed my schedule around at home.
Yeah.
To model. I worked nights. So
Yeah.
I was dedicated to the cause.
Yeah.
You had to be, because really they rarely use people out of state. It's different now.
Okay.
But back then they didn't, because they didn't have to. Everybody was trying to go to New York and
they said this is the Ford agency. Ford agency.
Ford agency,
Cool.
like the real deal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they said.
Yeah. Nah, for sure, for sure.
And I was telling him I was never one to brag about it.
Yeah.
Because there's always somebody faster, taller, smarter, cuter. You just live. I lived in where I was at.
And now because you say you started modeling around 98 and into the 2000s, and then you say you started the Ugly brand 05.
Yeah, in 05. And I was still modeling. I was still I would wear my ugly shirts to casting calls.
Yeah.
But I was explaining the whole thing, which you find out a lot of people are unhappy.
Yeah.
Edgar Allan Poe, the Brent Brandt, Mozart, unhappy. Unhappy. And even the Kevin Hart's.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart's one stand-up about his life was one of the funniest stand-ups, but it was his pain.
Yeah, I mean, you hear this idea of comedians oftentimes that the comedy comes from being able to release your pain or being able to.
And I've always said to kids I mentor, you follow the people that you relate to.
Yeah.
And somebody that's going to open up to their pain.
Yeah.
They're the ones that make the money. Because I can't sing, but I understand what he's saying. And I can relate to what he's saying. I don't paint, but I want that paint because I know what that feels like.
And it's like the idea, let's say if you're buying a paint, that's why they say sometimes it's like you're selling a feeling.
Yes.
Or
yeah. And that's how we celebrities are where they are because we relate to them in somehow.
Word.
Yeah.
So now can you talk about, and you spoke about it a little bit earlier, the inception of Ugly brand, and you started to touch upon how when you began the Ugly brand or during that time and when you put the meaning around it of you got to love yourself and the idea of self-love, that you're actually depressed during that time.
So my life was, everybody at that time, I was doing my bodybuilding shows and doing very well with my bodybuilding shows. I was winning all natural competitions, did really work my way up in the rankings there.
Yeah.
And then modeling at the same time. But I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
That was false idol, false thing.
Yeah.
I was unhappy with me, and which we didn't really know about depression.
Yeah.
And I was one that never talked, which is kind of ironic. I mean, I kept everything, which I can talk a lot now. But I kept everything in.
Yeah.
And it built up.
Were you, at that time, were you aware that you were unhappy, or was it?
I didn't understand it. I didn't know it. I didn't know what this heaviness was.
Yeah.
I really didn't know what this heaviness and where it was coming from.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to talk. I didn't know how to release it. People say go to therapy, and then I would go to therapy, and I would, like I said, if somebody would say something that made it seem like I should follow what they're telling me to do, you weren't. Therapy is supposed to help you open your eyes and figure out for yourself.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to tell me what you think. Not like say well, do you read the Bible? Do you want me to read the Bible? But those things, and that would hit me.
Yeah, and that would probably trigger you to make things
to make me think different ways. Like, nah, you're not the one. They say, well, you need to find the right one. I'm tired of trying to look for the right one. I was medicated, had to go through all kinds of different medications.
Yeah.
So it was rough.
Yeah.
It was rough, but I didn't understand it either.
Yeah.
You know, opening up and talking more about it, which is kind of weird. Like you say, when you talk about it, it helps. You're self-medicating that way too, and the power of that. Yeah. And I always tell kids I mentor, remember Eminem from 8 Mile when he told everything about himself with Papa Doc?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. Well, it's the same thing with depression. If I tell you I'm sad, I'm going to cry in front of you, you have no power. Because I told you that. Yeah. You're crying. I told you I was going to cry. You have no power. Yeah. So once I realized that I'm going to explain myself. I'm going to tell you everything about me. Yeah. You have no power. I took that away.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's weird. It's to think like you open up and say, but we're so afraid to do it. Yeah. Because we're afraid about what they're going to say. Yeah. But if you tell them that, they got nothing to say to you.
Yeah. It's almost like, in one way, it's one way is, I guess you can see it as a coping mechanism. Yes. And another way you can see it as a superpower too. Right. I guess you have to know that know that. Okay.
Yeah. And I said I had to go through some dark times. You know, one of my sayings. I saw this billboard one time. I'm driving, and it was like a jewelry. Yeah. Right. And instantly I thought to myself, you know what? We go to the depths of the oceans, caverns, cold things to find that jewel. But when it comes to us, we only scrape the surface. We're too scared to go to find that, to go in the depths of that. We're too scared to get deep into that cold, muddy cavern. We're just gonna skip over. But when you go through that and you get that jewel in your hand, the value of that, no one can ever take that from you. Yeah. You know, and I said it's all around us. Like you just have to recognize it. Yeah. You know, the value of that diamond, but what you had to go through for that diamond. Yeah. The value for self, what you have to go through for self. You know what I mean?
No, for sure.
So building off of what you just said, so how was the journey to recognize that you were actually going through depression? Like, how were you able to unravel that?
And then also on that same note, when you created the Ugly brand and you built it around this concept of self-love, at that point there had to have been an awareness there of some level of an awareness there.
I created Ugly really for a reminder for myself, which happened. I could put it on a T-shirt and explain it. It was for me and a reminder. And I tell people, it's still a practice. It's still a practice. Yeah. I embodied it. I still have to work on it. Yeah. Because those self-doubts try to creep in. Yeah. It's almost, I'm not saying this is as severe as a heroin addict or an alcoholic. Yeah. But sometimes those thoughts creep in. Yeah. Like, you know what? And I always have to keep reminding myself, and I always have to keep that energy. It's like, you're here for a reason. You're doing things for a reason. These are things are happening. You can't be afraid to talk about it. You need to open up. Yeah. Because I always say, you never know who you're going to touch just by a smile or how you feel. Yeah. And somebody sees the realness in that. They're like, you know what? I could have saved somebody's life today just by going, hey, how you doing, man? Yeah. And then that energy, you know, and that vibe. Yeah. You know, you walk into a room, sometimes you just vibe with people, and that same energy that created is. I try to give that vibe to people in what they're creative at doing. Yeah. And I think everybody's creative. You know, people that are analytical, like I'm not creative, just know numbers. Yeah, but you know numbers creatively. I can't look at those pages and understand that. You can look at it and go, bing. Yeah. You know, I can sketch this out. Yeah. But you can see numbers. So everybody has this. I say everybody's gonna have an ugly story. I said to him, it's like you might not have it now, but one day an ugly story you're gonna have, and you're gonna be able to relate to it. And I pushed it enough too, even if you don't remember the acronym of what ugly is, in your mind you remember, I remember this guy talking about ugly, and it was such a positive, you know, just them seeing that word, and it's everywhere. Yeah. And then if you see it, it's just gonna spark a little bit, like, you know, I remember this guy, I remember him saying, and if it gives you that positive energy. Yeah. Yeah.
No, for sure. For sure. Yeah. For everyone who was tuned in, watching, we hope you enjoyed the conversation thus far. Yeah. We got Michael Tull with us talking about his Ugly brand at the moment and his background as a bodybuilder and a model. and we're gonna keep the conversation going. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and make sure to also hit the like button below this video and hit the notification button at the top right. We want to keep this movement going.
Yeah.
So
if you ain't ugly, you should be.
if you ain't ugly, you should be.
Right.
Yes, can you go further into the Ugly brand and how you were building it as you were? Because it sounded like you were modeling and building the brand at that time, or what was that journey like?
So when I was, like I said, the first T-shirt that I came up with was an iron-on, just to wear it around. And then, like I said, I was kind of in the industry already with apparel, and then I started making T-shirts in my basement with like, fabric paint, and just and then I made up. I said my ex was a graphic designer, so I started selling it, and then social media started coming about.
Yeah.
You know, so I started, talking about it on that, and then start pushing it, and then I started getting the first amount of money coming in to help with the apparel. Yeah. Was friends and family. Yeah. Hey, I got this shirt. It's like, oh, we really like that. So start getting money together, make the first print. Yeah. Now they're my billboards. Now my billboards, and I would explain to them, and I would say to them, somebody's gonna call you ugly. It's gonna hit you wrong. Yeah. But you can explain it to them. And I said, as soon as you broke down the words, you gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. People look at it, it registers, and they're like, I like that. As I said, everybody can relate to that story. Like the Kevin Hart, it's like, you gotta love, and yeah. Some people could wear it, some people couldn't. Yeah. And I said to him before, it's like, you can wear a shirt that says ugly on it, because look at you. And I was like, you're worried about what society's saying about you, or thinks about you, and that's not what this is about. Yeah. At the time, people are like, yeah, you need to send this out to some celebrities. No, because no one's better than me or you. Like, I understood for profit and sales, but this went deeper than that for me. I didn't just want to throw a shirt to somebody for them to wear and not understand what it's about. I said everybody's VIP, not VUP, very ugly people, not very important people. So I say everybody's VUP for me. So I wasn't just going to hand out to if somebody in a celebrity would come and reach out to me, that's different, because they're getting shirts dime a dozen every day, and they're looking through. I had one of the as the network grew, there's a woman that helped me out, and I almost got on the Rachel Ray show with Ugly. Yeah. But they couldn't figure out how to do a T-shirt line with a cooking show. And I'm still friends with the guy who was producing. Yeah. Still friends with him today. Okay. And I went to New York. We sat down. We met. He goes, man, I really want to get, but just having it's like, you're a T-shirt company. Right. And she was having guests over, but she really was a cooking show on TV. So, but I mean, it did touch people. Yeah. It really, but there again, I said, people have their own ugly story that they can relate to. Yeah. So I knew the importance of it. I knew the importance of it, but I was saying, it's like, I wanted this to have its own energy, and I was there to represent it wherever it went. Yeah. I wasn't trying to say, I never said, this is mine. Right. It was more than that. Right. I didn't want to, because they said everybody can relate to it in some kind of way. So I never wanted to push that it's mine. Right. To sell it, sell it, mentoring kids, saying if the best way to sell something is talking about yourself without actually talking about you. Right. This is a stem of me, and I'm talking about it. I'm excited about it. If I'm not excited about a product that's me, I shouldn't be trying to sell it. Yes, for sure. That's for sure. Yeah, because I'm excited to talk about this. It's like, I remember the different things. Yeah. If you don't have that for a product, then you should be changing your product. You're doing something different. Yeah.
Now, when it comes to this concept of ugly and self-love, you touched upon the idea of digging deep and finding that gem, or you can say the fire inside, or however you want to put it. For people who are on the ugly journey, and I say everyone's really on an ugly journey at some point.
At some point. Like I said, they didn't hit it, or sooner or later it's going to come up.
Right. Or different, just different places. Yes. And I think it's one thing to say you got to love yourself, right? To say you got to love yourself. And then it's another thing to really do the work, right?
Actually do it, right.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the just lessons you've learned that that enabled you to find that gem, enabled you to find that fire?
You know, like I said, it's always a practice for me. You can always have doubt, you know, in yourself and different things. You just have to, I said, if you find something that you really enjoy and you're good at, that's a good way to focus on what I'm really good at, to understand that you are good at it.
Yeah.
And believe, like, not just by chance. Like, somebody plays basketball, hits 3-pointers, I'm pretty good at this.
Yeah.
Then you have something that you have a substance to.
Yeah.
That I was like, I was good with BSing people, meaning for the better.
Yeah.
And I understood, it's like, wow, people really like listen to me.
Yeah.
At first, it was hard for me as somebody, there's good leaders in the world, there's good followers in the world. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen. You know, Scottie Pippen knew he was a good follower.
Yeah.
But one of the best followers in the NBA.
Yeah.
And Michael Jordan was a leader.
And by the way, Scottie Pippen, if you're watching this show, it's all love.
I'll show my age. Who's Michael Jordan? The LeBron at the time. In my era.
Everyone knows MJ. That's the legend, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So I used to tell people you have to find that what sparks you. And you know, you always hear people like saying like, yeah, you find out what's your passion, but what's your passion? That's not an easy task to figure out what your passion is. Yeah, you find your passion and you just drive. But Kevin Hart knew he wanted to be a comedian. Yeah, that was his passion, so he drove. But if you're floating around, and you don't know what your passion is. Yeah, how do you do it? And then you're in this purgatory of, I don't know where I'm going, what I'm doing. So if you find what you're good at, then you kind of focus on that, and then you start seeing it develop. Just like working out. Yeah. You put that time in, you start to grow. Yeah. It's like, oh, it's the same thing. You read more, you get more knowledge. Yeah. You lift more, you get stronger. You know, you have a different attitude, things change. You know, if you have a positive mindset, it might take a while to get to that particular moment in time. Yeah. But you can look back once you get. I always say you can't break down the what ifs and the whys. But when you get to your point and placement and look back, you're like, now I understand why it went that way. Why I lost this job to get this job. You got to understand those things. Yeah. You got to relate. It's like, man, I lost this job. Yeah, but you don't know what's going to happen from that. Right. You don't know the outcome of you losing that job. Yeah. Or just keep going with that positive mindset. Don't let it. You can be in that moment and be upset and sad, but don't let it sit on you, which I would do. I would why didn't somebody like this? And it would just bring me down, and I get depressed. And then I'm like, you know what, if no one's gonna get it, you start getting mad. No, you gotta there again is like, how deep do you want to go? You gotta truck through it. Yeah. You gotta truck through it. You gotta bring yourself like this. Come on, just keep going. And it's funny, the mentors I talked to in the years, they would look at me and just keep doing what you're doing. Yeah. And that's what every mentor is like. Affirmation. Yeah. It's like, because mentors or like yourself, like, they're here looking at you. And so their vision is like this. And we're like this. So like you're doing the right thing. And we're just, you gotta just keep, and that's hard to do. Yeah. But when you have that passion of something and you find that niche, just keep grinding it out. Yeah. It's a grind. It's like some people it happens. It's funny. You're like, man, he's a millionaire. Yeah, but you don't know what he's been doing for the last 15 years. You see him on the movies now, right? But he's the one that's been going to casting calls, not getting them. Got a big break, but then lost it. Yeah. No, and I always use celebrities as an easy way to talk about it.
And you know, there's that picture that I think of sometimes of the iceberg, and you only see the tip of the iceberg, but underneath that is
and I tell people that's from the architecture perspective, the cantilever. So anything cantilever, you see this much of the deck that's standing out, but that much is what's inside the building that you don't see. You see that much of a balcony, but the weight distribution has to be that much, has to be double. So you don't know, what people went through, but remember, it's double to what they went through, what you see. Yeah. So like I said, I always take things in life, and remember. So then I try to break it down. I call it the layman's terms. I was like, I'm the layman of different ways. Like, oh, that makes sense to me. That makes sense. Yeah, because you only see this, but there's that much work. And when you put that in perspective for people, like, and it's all around us. Yeah, it's all around us. Yeah, it's not just, I didn't just come up with that. Right. stand on that deck once and see if when it's this and that, and stand on it.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah.
But the work that you put in, you can stand
The
on
foundation,
it.
yeah.
You can stand on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So different elements of ugly and going through and understand for myself. But I stopped ugly. The ugly just came back around.
So at what point did you stop working on it?
2000. I think it was more like 2012. I think my sadness started seeping back in.
Yeah.
And I said, if you're not passionate selling something, don't try to sell it, or it won't come across. I don't want to lie to somebody.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you gotta love yourself, and I'm not.
Yeah.
And also, people when you're trying to sell a product and they understand it, but they're not getting it.
Yeah.
You hear me,
Yeah.
but you ain't listening.
Yeah.
So I went through that, and I always trying to sell this product. I had to be there to sell it, and I got tired. And then getting tired, then it was playing off itself. People aren't getting it. I might not be doing a good job. It's not working. Depression.
Yeah.
Then I'm trying to sell. Then that fire started just start dwindling out. So then I just like being creative. I'll make something else.
Yeah.
I'll do something else.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like I said, this other company,
Well,
but
that's
kind of started back.
Was this the ugly shirts?
Yeah, the ugly
Okay, can we see one of the
Yeah. So this
shirts?
one here is one of the first ones that I had embroidered and spray painted and wore around. So I'm not sure. If you can see at the very bottom is the spray paint. And then I had the embroidery.
Okay.
And then also with Ugly One, if you look at it, see
That's
the L, and that's a number 1 on that
texture.
corner. So
Ugly
I
One.
hid the 1, and I always have concept to completion.
Yeah.
I hid the 1 and I never really told anybody about the 1 because
Yeah.
I wanted people to discover it for themselves, just like how we do for ourselves.
Yeah.
You discover it.
Yeah.
And so one day, like, oh, that's a 1. Just like I didn't know I had a good 3-point. So it was a play.
Wow.
I never really. People are like, is that a 1? And if they ask me, like, yes. I mean, you can probably see it better on the this one too. So this is the original logo. This is the first. That's the original logo. If you ain't ugly, you should be. So then each one had that 1 there. But I said I never pointed that out. I wanted people to see it and go, and that's how we feel about ourselves. I wanted that same energy and that same feeling for yourself. For yourself, I'm like, oh,
yeah,
and that's exciting.
Yeah,
that's exciting when you do that.
To feel that, to get that feeling of like oh, I just came across that. I just figured that out.
Or something you did for yourself.
Yeah, something you did.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted people. It's like they found that.
Yeah.
They're like they found that 1. I'm like, oh, it's a cool feeling because you discovered it. You can do this. You can do the same thing for yourself.
Right. In other ways, or you can find that again and you can,
just in life.
Yeah.
Just in life, and discovering what you see from a different angle, and I said different perspectives. Yeah. You know, that could have been laying upside down, and all of a sudden you look at it, it's like you look at things from a different perspective, not the same route.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
I mean, that's my design mind.
Yeah.
I explain this to people, like, you can walk from point A to point B, right? Point A to point B. Some people just walk point A to point B. You can celebrate from point A to point B. How do you celebrate that space? It could be light, it could be noise, it could be music, it could be reflection on the wall. You can celebrate from point A to point B. That's how architects think. Yeah. Designers think. But it's hard to be in that space all the time. Yeah. But I try to stay in that. How do I celebrate from where I'm at to where I'm going? You know, how do I see? I take it in, like, oh man, and it helps with the creative mind, but it also helps with just a good feeling of you that you see, that you take a picture that no one else has ever seen, and you see it, and you're like, oh man, and that just sits in there. It's like, that's a good feeling for you. Yeah, something as simple as that, which you can feed off of that and fuel, and grow your own fire, or find your own jewel. Yeah, yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, now I could definitely even, you know, talk about from my personal life, like, I say we're in 2021 right now. Back in 2015, I was working on this venture. It was a mobile app platform. It was a mental health platform for college students, and you know, I was working on it full time. And during that time,
I never went to go get help, but like during that time, I know that if I did go see somebody, I would have been diagnosed with depression for sure, for sure. And the irony of it was that I was working on a mental health platform. And so you think about how that even added to the problem, but I remember like that journey of coming out of that was exactly what you're talking about. It was literally like finding things that you're good at.
Yeah.
Oh, and
accepting it too.
Yeah.
It's accepting that you're good at it.
Yeah.
And don't care, like, and you I was saying to him, I told him it took a long time to tell people that I model. I'm good at modeling. I'm good at it. But it took a long time for me to tell people that I was modeling, because I was worried about like, oh, you think you're all that. But I am, because I made money at it. Yeah. So what's wrong with me saying? Just because you're mad that you're not doing it, but I never said that you couldn't do it. I never said you couldn't do it. And if you ask me, I'm going to tell you, these are the ways I went through the rough waters. Yeah. Now I can tell you, you're the dinghy on the boat. I can tell you how to get to the agencies or the right way to, I'm not saying they're going to accept you, but I can get you there. Yeah. You know, but you never asked me because you were too worried about thinking I was all that. But you know what I mean? There was just this pile that you had to work through. Yeah. But I said, once you accept for yourself, like, I'm good at this. Yeah. I can't see that. I said, man, that's a whole different energy. Right. That's a whole different.
And that's what that self-love. That's what that self-love is like. You know, accepting, whether it's accepting yourself, accepting, you know, accepting what you're good at, accepting, not caring as much about the external,
outside stuff, man. And I said, when we were talking earlier, if there was nobody in the world, you still have you. If there was nobody in the world, you still have you. Yeah. So that means you gotta fight for yourself. You had to find food. You gotta find shelter for you. You still got you. Yeah. And there's times that I'll be sitting, you know, in my space going, you still got you. I mean, and it's hard to do that. Yeah. But Kevin Hart does it. Yeah. Michael Jordan, you still got you. And like if no one else is here, I'm still gonna prevail and get where I need to go. Yeah. You know, I said, but you had to be in those scary places to realize that. Yeah. You have to be. You have to go through. I mean, there's a show on Netflix called Alone. Yeah. You know, where when they win, they put them out in cold. I forget where it's at, but they gotta hunt, fish, build their shelter by themselves. Yeah. You know, to survive. You know, we have to. Sometimes you got to place yourself in these things.
And I think also, you know, that you can't fully appreciate the light until you've seen the dark.
Yep. And I've said that, it's like, no matter how dark it is, your eyes will still try to focus for light too. Right? Yeah. No matter how dark it is, your eyes are still looking for light. And you see that little glimpse. Yeah. And you see that little glimpse, you hold on to that glimpse. It's all around us. Yeah. It really is. Yeah. It really is. You just have to recognize it. Yeah. And I appreciate my design teachers help me open that part of my mind, but also being a layman to explain it to somebody, like it's all around us. Yeah, it's all around us. Like I said, if it's dark, but your eyes still try to focus for light. Yeah, that's facts. Right. I didn't just make that up. It's facts. Right. But then you see it. And, wow. Okay, I can see that. Like then you're like focusing on it, and then you're fixated on it. But that's how it should be. Yeah. You know, and also not forgetting that we saw it. Yeah. Because a lot of people, just because the dark consumes them so much. Yeah. But also people like being in that darkness to use it for their like, what was me?
Right. And I think there's also too, when you're used to, you're in a habit or you're in a cycle or this is, you might say that you want different, but really your body wants like what, or your mind wants what it's already, you know, what it's comfortable with. You might have been in a cycle for so long.
They're scared of that change.
Yeah, right.
They're scared of, well, I'm comfortable here even though they're miserable. I never understood, well, I've been in this job for 25 years and I hate it. Right. Well, leave. Well, I can't leave. I have my pension. I have, but then you don't hate that job that much. You know, I'm that kind of person. if you do, now I'm out.
Right.
I can always find another job.
Yeah.
Tell him I had dreads for 10 years. I cut them off on my 50th.
Yeah.
Just went right there. And people are like, you shaved your head. I'm like, yeah. I'm not scared to change.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
some people are just afraid, like I said, they're afraid. But you don't know. It took a friend of mine to say, you know what, Mike, if it doesn't work out, you are where you are right now. And I was like, and where I'm at right now really is not that bad. So if you think about it, if I try, you are where you are right now. If it doesn't work out, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so let's give it a try.
Yeah.
And then now you're where you are now. It kind of moves up. You know, but you still just strive.
Yeah.
You know, you strive to be better. And you know, my waking up moment was I was laying in bed and I'm looking at the ceiling. And I was like, you know, there's going to be one day I'm going to be in a hospital bed looking up at the ceiling. Right?
It's real. Perspective.
I was like, I don't want to be in that bed in this moment going, man, nah, man, I can't.
Yeah.
Like, I can't. Like, it scared me.
Yeah.
It scared me. Like, I have to do something.
Yeah.
Like, I have to do something.
Yeah.
If it's changing one person, I have to do something. I can't be laying, to a point of, I started snowboarding 3.5 years ago.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to snowboard.
Yeah.
Now I snowboard. I didn't want to be in that hospital bed going, man, I should have tried to snowboard.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? And so you had to have these wake up moments.
Yeah.
And everybody needs to grab onto it when they recognize it.
Yeah.
And like I said, we're only here one time.
Yeah.
Why be miserable? Why be at a job you hated for 25 years until you're retired and you're sitting there like, man, I wish, nah, man, I'm trying to do as much as I can.
Yeah.
You know, I need to work. You know, I need to work, but I'm trying to get to the point where I have my freedom to work for myself.
Right.
That's my goal. That's my energy.
Yeah, and I think that you know, you mentioned you start touching upon regret too, or let's say being on your deathbed.
Yeah.
You know, God willing, many years from now.
Right. Yeah.
But,
yeah. And well, everybody. Yeah. So, but it's still that you know, that mindset of like,
right.
I will be looking at
Right.
that, and you know, I want to be in that position where I'm like, yeah, look back, go, man, my grandkids and everything, yeah, we're good. I'm good.
Right.
Not even we're good.
Right.
I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know that I'm good and I'm looking around like, yeah, I'm good because look at what I
lived.
continued and passed on. And, I'm good.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So just to understand more of your journey. So what was some of the things that helped you recognize, you know, the feeling that you were depressed, and from there, what helped or what kind of things did you do to help you cope or improve?
When it really hit me, like it took years to recognize a lot of. When I said therapy was a good one to help me recognize. When I was 19.
And you said finding a good therapist too, right?
Yeah, you find medication is key. But there's some, if you surround yourself, and I'm going by my experience, like I haven't been on medication for a while now, but I'm around the right people.
Yeah.
And my energy is different too. I didn't want to substitute, and be around, like I'm off the meds. And I was off the meds because I didn't have insurance at the time.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, it's kind of weird how it transitioned to, I was around the right people.
Yeah.
I didn't need the meds. But I also recognize if I recognize something, I can get out of that. Get yourself, get that energy. Get it out.
Yeah.
But when I was 19, my grandparents, 3 of my grandparents passed away in a year and a half. 2 were in 2 weeks. My mom's mom.
19, you said?
My mom's mom, 18 in tonight. My mom's mom, and 2 weeks later, my grandmom, and then less than a year was my grandpa.
Yeah.
So all that energy of everything that I thought was love, was stripped. Plus, my parents separated. So there's
during around that same time.
Yeah, all when I was 18, 19.
Yeah.
And you think you're grown.
Yeah.
Man, I look at my kid, my son's 21. I was like, man, he's still so young. And I went through that at 19, not realizing how much that damaged me of that love. Everything that I thought was love was stripped away or passed away. So that darkness was just lingering there.
Yeah.
And then I became very like my therapist said, you talk a lot, but you don't say nothing. So I would talk a lot, smoking mirrors, but I wasn't saying anything. And so like just that weighed. And so you do things, to hide it, to mask it. Some people drink, some people do drugs. You know what I mean? I would just do different things, keep my mindset busy, where I wasn't taking on the issue. I wasn't taking on the issue.
Yeah.
And then so modeling comes up. Still, that was kind of a smoke shield. Bodybuilding was a smoke shield. I could focus on other things, not focus on. I was focusing on me, but I wasn't focusing on me.
Yeah.
So then the depression just hit heavy.
Yeah.
Then I had to figure something out.
Right.
And even with the clothing line, I said I was in a bad state when I came up with Ugly.
Yeah.
But I was like, wow, I came with a line that I can identify with, and people can relate to.
Yeah.
But I made it for a reminder, not because I had it, because I was trying to get it.
Yeah.
Trying to get it. It's like, oh, you must love yourself. Nah. This is trying to help me to always be reminded. I can look in the mirror and go, oh yeah, that's right. No.
Right.
Simple reminder, simple billboard. And I said the word is so powerful when you see something that says ugly in a bad context.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking in a good context.
Right.
Like Ugly Duckling and that whole story. Like, yeah, that's a good story. Even my kids, they were young, they never thought Ugly was bad.
Yeah.
I still have people today come up and they remember Ugly being a positive thing.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
always a reminder, and it would always come back when I needed it too.
Yeah.
It's amazing how you tell something and it comes back to you. Like, especially in those moments, and you say we'll all go through that, especially in those moments when you're down and out and all of a sudden somebody come up to you and you're like, man, or you met somebody at that time, like, man, and I totally accepted that. Like when somebody comes up with like, we met for a reason. We met for a reason. How I got here, I was explaining to you, was from a whole different clothing line of how I'm sitting here today.
Right.
For Ugly, which I recently brought back.
Right.
But I'm here talking about something that is weird how full circle. And I'm like, yep, you're doing what you're supposed to. And I said to him, I was like, I let this go where it needs to go. Yeah. And then I'm there to, hi, I'm the Ugly representative. Yeah. Like I don't make it seem like it's mine. It's all ours. And it's just amazing those different things that popped up in my life, to the point. I mean, there's some things I went through with designing stuff that got a lump in my throat and teared up, because I was like, man, I can't. That just came from nowhere. Yeah. I'll get an example. I wanted a rugby line, right? And I was trying to make this rugby, and I was trying to spell it out. I was personal training somebody at the gym, right? So I always used to go to magazine racks and just look at fashion just to get some knowledge. That'd be cool if I did that. Yeah. So I put this. Nothing's on this magazine rack. I turn around to see if my client's there. I turn back. There's a magazine with a yellow stripe at the top. I'm like, where's that at? So I walk over to it, and it was Ralph Lauren's rugby line, right? I picked the magazine up. I put my thumb over the R and put the other part over the B. It said Ugly. Wow. And this is the time that Abercrombie was doing the patchwork look like it's falling off. Yeah. That's what I wanted to design. I wanted that patchwork to make it rugby, like a rugby line look like it's distressed. And I put I picked up the magazine, went like this and like that. And I put the magazine down. Yeah. Dude, I had to put my head down, and I was just like, because it's not me, it's coming through me, and I'm just here to represent it.
Yeah, like a vessel.
So I was like, whoa. Like, and at that moment, in that time, I was like, okay, I get it. I was like, I said to myself, I'm like, I get it. Yeah. And I just remember it was on that mezzanine, and I just,
like, you just got accepted. Right?
That's what I did. Yeah. I said, okay, and I said that out loud. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is more than me. Yeah. This is more than a designing shirt. This is way more. And I was like, okay. Yeah, man. Yeah.
That's powerful.
So it's, but we all can go through those different things. Yeah. And accept like what we're good at, what our path is. Like, is Ugly my path? I don't know. Yeah. It's still a work in progress. Right. I didn't want this to be a profit thing. I know you need profit to make things, roll more t-shirts. Yeah. But this here is more powerful than a dollar bill to me. You see?
Yeah.
It's more powerful than that.
Yeah.
Then
sure.
somebody can relate and go, yeah, I get that.
However, if someone wants to,
Oh yeah. I'm not going to tell you nothing about it.
Can they find us on the site or like what are the ways?
I'm on Instagram.
Okay.
And it's at You Gotta Love Yourself First, and it's a 1 instead of an I. It's
okay.
You Gotta Love Yourself First with a numeral 1.
Okay.
And I have all my links to there.
Okay.
I'm slowly getting back into e-commerce. Like I said, this kind of just like came about.
Yeah.
And it's another thing with the business, so like I've been delegating a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I have soap being made.
Okay.
In February, I'm gonna have candles being made.
Wow.
So everything.
And all attached to the ugly brand.
Yeah,
okay.
Like the soap was really special that I created.
There's a soap over here.
I made. So now I found somebody that makes soap. I was making soap, but she can make soap like instantly, right?
Yeah.
So it's called the Ugly Soap Project. And I said I've always had to teach somebody something. So the Ugly Soap Project was, some of the tags are, you can't wash off ugly. Right? And then I have a specific shirt that I made. 'Cause you know when you go to the bathroom, you wash your hands, you look up to somebody and say, how you doing?
Yeah.
I made a shirt that says, when you look in the mirror, does ugly look back? And it's reversed, so when you read it, when you're in the mirror, you can actually read it. So I want to do the Ugly Soap Project, and every time I sold a bar of soap, I put money to the side to give to a women's shelter or kids club or something like that. So now, Ugly Soap is funny too, because all these soap companies are trying to be these pretty, like, and my whole concept is I'd rather be real ugly than pretty fake. A Dove bar, preserve it, pretty fake.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna be a real ugly, and at the end of the day, I says always learn this, and we're soap at the end of the day. But for a Dove bar to get that shape, you know, that oval shape that you have from washing your hand, it takes a long time for that to happen.
Yeah.
But real oil, that shape is instantly. But that's how we should be as people. We should be there. We're all soap at the end of the day. If you're fake, you're fake. I'm not trying to be fake. I'm trying to be as real as possible. You know, so I always try to do a learning lesson with anything I do with ugly.
Yeah.
So the names of the soap have the word YOU in it. Right?
Okay.
So the black and white soap, this one, it's unity.
Okay.
So
and says unity.
Yeah, it will.
Says,
like I said, but it had to be with unity, with the temperature of the country.
Okay.
YOU unity. So unity. So that's like it had to be. And then this one is.
I see.
See that? I was waiting. And this one is therapeutic.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And it has eucalyptus and spearmint.
Okay.
But this is the tag is made. We made
spearmint.
This. Yeah.
You might want to eat that.
but it's like it has poppy seed in it.
Okay.
So it's therapeutic because you know when you take a shower, like that's your time.
Yeah.
And so like the smell and the feeling. So the therapeutic bar, and then this one is beautify, and it's with the word YOU, and it says so beautify. So it's simple, natural, beautiful, like beautify.
Okay.
And so I said I want people to have the word YOU in all the bars that I make. So I have therapeutic, unity, beautify. Then I have humane, fabulous. Like so all the like so that was my I'll say gimmick, but that's my staple for my ugly. For my ugly soaps and bars. Yeah.
And then this first shirt you showed us, the red one.
Yeah.
Can this be purchased online
right
too?
The shirts that I have purchased right now.
This one's hard.
Oh, you like this one? But I haven't had this one.
One of those.
I haven't made one of these in a long time.
Okay.
But the thing is,
it's like the vintage ugly.
But I'm in that game. So you saying that? All right. Like I can have it. I can have it remastered. It's like the throwbacks. But right now I have a woman's shirt that says peace, love, and ugliness.
Okay.
That's going to be in the 1776 store with the soap. And I had some handbags that I had made years ago, but I'm getting through the inventory. But I just wanted to see, now that I'm relocated in Jersey, I just want to see the energy in people, if they wanted it, if they need it. And now the people are starting to like really like, man, you need to get. So now I'm slowly building up the brand and bringing back the T-shirts that I had printed. You know, this one, I just this was my reborn one. And it says, "Hello, my name is ugly." But I wanted the graffiti, and it's on the wall. And it's like, hello, my name is Ugly was like my rebranding. I'm back in the game shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, so hello, my name is Ugly was like, so I have a few of these shirts in stock, and but like I said, the inventory and the designs will start to load up. So when people follow me, it's always going to be updated. They're going to see what's going to be released and what's coming and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I definitely want to just give a shout out to Scott Porras, who connected us.
And Scott follows me from another clothing line. Yeah. And I sent him the information about Ugly, and then that's how we got here. So like I said, it has its own life. Yeah.
So are you selling these in the Cherry Hill Mall?
In October. Okay. It'll be sometime in October. The soap and some of the T-shirts will be available in his store.
Okay, and that's the Cherry Hill Mall in New Jersey, right?
Cherry Hill Mall, yes, sir.
Cool.
Yeah, man. So I said it's. I thought Ugly was gone. Yeah. But it's like it's not gone. See, like I said, it shows up when it's supposed to. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, you thought you got rid of me? Nah, man. Yeah. Nah, you can't get rid of me that easy.
So now, with that said, we definitely want to get into some of your other brands. Yeah. And it sounded like Toby had something that. Let's go. Okay. So I've been very fixated by you have a hip hop theme.
So that's a whole
craft beer.
So now,
and I also want to put this up to the cameras. So this Busta Rhymes.
Bust the Rhymes wheat, and this is gonna be the notorious Juicy. Of course, the song Juicy.
And did you design these?
I sketched them out, but my boy Jason Cortez who's done stuff for me for Ugly. He actually did the shirt. We became here again. This is kind of a real quick story how we met him. When I had my Ugly debut, I had something in the paper. Yeah. He reached out to me on Facebook. We started talking. We called up on the phone. We're talking. I was like, hey, I'm from Reading. He goes, oh, my stepdad's from Reading. I'm like, oh, really? Your stepdad's from Reading? He goes, yeah. And I was like, well, what? I said, well, my dad was a state cop, so if you gave me the name, I'd probably know because Reading's not that big. Yeah. And he goes, well, my stepdad was a state cop. I'm like, in Reading? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. So now I said, well, what's your stepdad's name? And he told me his stepdad's name. His stepdad's name knew me when I was in my mom's belly. Wow. So we're almost like brothers. Yeah. Like it was so, there again, things happen for a reason. And Jason's been with me for over 13 years. Yeah. And so when I told him I was doing this beer, he's a beer lover. He's a great artist, as you can see. So real quick concept behind this craft beer. When I was bartending in Lancaster at a brewery, had 100 beers on tap, right? Minorities would come in and look at that and be like deers in headlights. Didn't matter Spanish, Asian, black. They were just like, do you have Miller Lite? When you have 100 beers on tap, the right approach is, do you have something that tastes like Miller Lite? Not do you have Miller Lite? Because they'd be like, Miller Lite! Yeah, but so I realized there was a disconnect. Yeah. I looked at it in 2015, I did my research. There were only 3 black brewers in the nation in 2015. Wow. 3. A lot more now. Yeah. So I was like, how can we get the culture or minorities to understand craft beer, that it's not just white guys with Birkenstocks? Yeah. Because that's what they thought. And they also thought it was like chocolate flavored. Craft beer is by batch size, not by like what it is. That's why they can make crazier beers, because it's not they're not wasting a lot because it's small size. So I was like, well, I'm going to use the culture to help that, because the culture is global. So that's how hip hops came into play. Right. Hip hops came into play.
I definitely want to shout out Two Locals Brewing Company, who they're a black-owned brewing company that they came on the show earlier. Oh, nice. And they actually mentioned that there's still, as much as I guess they're more black-owned breweries.
Yes, yeah.
Here, it's still not. Yeah, it's not even close in the grand scheme of things. Right. But it's also really cool to see that this is a hip hop themed.
Yeah. Because it's the culture that's helping bridge the gap. Yeah. Because it's not just no one thought that hip hop was going to be global like it is. So I really focused on that. And of course I'll never run out of ideas with it, because I'm starting like, I want to have a tap room in the near future called Cedric Ave 73. Cedric Ave 73 is a year in the birthplace of hip hop. So it's gonna be called Cedric Ave, the Flavor House, not the tap room, and it's gonna be very urban feeling of hip hop in this tap room. You know,
Gotcha.
But I'm just waiting on the licensing to get wholesale. My PR firm already has it in 3 places.
Okay.
Got me a spot on Fox News.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So when it releases, it's gonna be. Shout out to Jack from Dr. Brew Littles that's helping me with making the beer. Because I didn't personally want to make it.
Yeah.
I just want to market it and get it out there.
Right.
But now the trick is one demographic can't scare the other one away. That's going to be, but that's why I love that part.
Right.
You know, I love that part. So if I have a brew house, a flavor house,
and
if it's white dominated, it's going to scare the black people away. And if it's black dominated, it's gonna scare the white people away. And I want the blend. Yeah. Because even though the beer culture is growing, it's still kind of in a segregated where the black brewers, where the white brewers, where the Mexican brewers, where the Asian brewers. It's beer. Let's all just collaborate and get together, and that's what I'm trying to do. Is really focus on like how hip hop is.
Hip hop is a good focal point, because everybody loves hip hop. Yeah.
And there again, the feeling with it too.
Yeah.
Like the energy's like, oh, they didn't even try it yet. Busta Rhymes. Oh, I remember that Busta Rhymes. You already are connected because of the feel goods of it. You know, and mentally, if it's good here, it's gonna taste good here. Yeah. You know, so I have a lot of things I want to do with the beer company itself.
Okay.
I would like to have a competition with East Coast versus West Coast.
Okay.
As a beer, that like we find breweries in the West Coast, they make their beer.
Yeah.
I guess, and then each year we have annual
competition.
And who wins, and then the winner is put on the can for the next year for the next competition.
That's creative.
Yeah,
that's creative.
Yeah. So I have different names like De La Sour is coming. Real Slim Shandy is
okay. Okay.
Like I said, this is I've been working on this since 2015.
Yeah.
Lancaster County. I talked to a couple of breweries. Lancaster's really big with beer.
Yeah.
But they kept dropping the ball. And there again, it's like looking back, why you can't break down the whys and what ifs.
Yeah.
I met Jack, Dr. Brew Littles. They were the first. He was the first company I emailed. He emailed me 15 minutes later. It's like, I want to meet you. And I was like, really, that easy?
Yeah.
And I was like, say that easy. I still had to go through my licensing and how we're going to make this work.
Right.
But in June 19th, we had a collaboration party on June 19th at his place. He went through he went two and a half kegs from 3 to 11, which is a lot with the Busta Rhymes. You know, and it was a small party, but it was the celebration of June 19th, and I can officially say that I had a beer made. Yeah. That actually, I don't drink either. Yeah. I haven't had a drink in almost 4 years. Almost 4 years. People are like, how you drink it? How you make it? I don't have to drink it. You can tell me if it's good or not. You know, I don't have to drink it. You know, and it's funny. People are like, you don't drink? And I'm a bartender. And like, 3.5 years, I haven't had a drink. But it's the belief in what you. So I don't have to taste my product and I'm not trying to please everybody. That's another thing in this. You can't please everybody. You don't try. Yeah. And I'm not trying to please everybody. Like, I don't like this. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But this person does.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So the hip hops that's the one, man. That's the energy.
And again, we want to thank everyone who is currently tuned into the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We're not talking about hip hops.
Hip hops.
Burr.
It's hip hop's beer.
Hip hop's beer.
But we eventually going to have a tap room called Cedric Ave 73.
Okay, Cedric Ave 73.
But I'm also on social media.
I see we got that on the can here
IG
too. Okay.
Is hip hop's craft beer, all one word, hip hop's craft beer _& apparel. Okay. So you can follow me, and then you can see the updates and the links and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, and something I noticed when just doing some research on you is you're highly creative. And I noticed that you had a bunch of different brands that you're working on. Right. And so I know you also mentioned that you're looking to open up a ice cream parlor, right? Ice cream parlor. And is that a different?
No, this is all. This is more. Also? This is more hip hop.
Oh, it's hip. Okay.
That's I have the apparel for hip hop.
Got you.
Okay. And we were talking about the soap. See, that's how I think. So how I think. So hip hop's you can she can make beer soap for me. Shelly from Woodbox.
Okay.
She can make beer soap. So I was like, that's perfect.
Yeah.
We're gonna make a beer soap. And you know what I call my beer soap?
Bars. Yeah.
And the tag, you might not rap like your favorite artist, but you'll always have bars. Right. So always, man, always good. But and the thing it is with hip hop, you know, some bars you get, some bars you don't.
Right.
If you don't get that, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna explain it to you. But people are like, oh, that's funny.
It's like if you know, you know.
How you look at me, like, oh, that's funny. Bars of soap. So the soap is coming with that. Like, but it's always.
As people see it says that.
So it's always to put, you know, it's great marketing, but it's also money to help me fill up these cans. How can I make a product to help build my product?
Right.
You know, bars is in it. Not everybody drinks,
Right.
but they can still support. They can still, and that's how I thought. I was like, I don't drink, but like, so, oh, that'd be great. Well, an actual beer soap, which is actually going to be made with my beer. Right. But the beer is, of course, the alcohol is, but the benefits of beer soap is amazing. Yeah. Because of what is all the wheat, it's amazing. Right.
So you can still support the brand or be a part of the
without
brand.
Even drinking. Right.
Word.
Yeah. So it's bringing that, and like I said, I want everybody to be in this whole pot. Yeah. So like it's more, and I said that I just love to create, and if I can help people, or people that she creates that soap and she's so good at it, I make the soap. That's awesome. You know, she's good at that. And I mean, I made the soap. My first runs of soap, I went through and I made my own ugly soap. Yeah. But she can make soap. And it takes her no time to make it. Yeah. Where to me, to make that like Unity bar, man, you know how many trials there and that's money spent. Yeah. To try to make it where she knows how to make it. So I'm gonna let her do what she's good at. Yeah. And we're gonna celebrate, we're gonna calibrate. I'll plug them because of what they're doing to help me with my stuff. Yeah. And that's been my goal with everything I do. Whoever helps me, I wanna grow this together. Cause I didn't just do this alone. Right. You know, like Jason helped me with I would love for him just to if he could just work for me, that'd be awesome. Yeah. I'm not saying he's going to. Yeah, right. Man, you're head of design. Yeah. So I feel that. But all my brands always said concept to completion. Yeah. There's always, if there's something missing, I'll try to fill it. Yeah. And how can I fill it? Apparel's easy because I've just been in that game. Yeah. But where I live. In Rancocas Woods, I started an apparel, which led to.
And that's in Jersey.
Yeah, that's
Rancocas Woods. Okay.
Down Little, New Jersey.
Okay.
Which that apparel created a dog treat, which created the idea for an ice cream parlor, but all the woods related. Yeah. You know, so like it's funny.
You said a dog treat.
Yeah. So Rancocas Woods. Yeah. And I'll just give you a quick story. When we moved in, someone's like, well, welcome to the woods. I'm like, oh, that's really dope. Welcome to the woods. So I went out front. There's shops out front. Yeah. And no one had a shirt that said like the woods, Rancocas. I'm like, I made a shirt. Yeah.
You see opportunities everywhere you go.
So I made a shirt. And got it into a shop out front in Consuming. Wow. Yeah. And then people from Rancocas Woods that live there or used to live there, they love it. Cause wow, we have a shirt now. We have a shirt. So I'm like, I'm going to help in the community. Yeah. Like I'm building the community, and I call them communities, Tees, communities. Yeah. And so we were developing an ice cream parlor, which is going to hopefully be in the spring. That's what we're shooting for. Okay. But the woods has a lot of dogs. Yeah. So I developed the Woods Bark dog treats, and they look like wood bark. Wow. That I have some of that bakes, and then knows how to do that bakes, and I came up with the concept of the label.
So actual dog treats. Wow.
Yeah, the Woods Bark dog, and the treats is spelled Treets. Wow. So I'm using everything about the woods to build this brand. Yeah. So then when the ice cream parlor opens, my dog treats are in there, my apparel's in there, mugs, everybody's coming there. Wow. So they come to the apparel shop like, there's ice cream in there? Or someone's like, oh, I'm getting ice cream. There's a t-shirt in there? And so there's always money coming in to help the brand.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of streams of income right there.
And I'm poor, married. That's why I'm trying to develop all these things. It's nothing's overnight, man. Yeah. But this is my passion of I said I love to create. And if I can watch somebody's face going, and really resonate and love just the bars or the Buster. like that. I like that energy because you get it, and it's like, man, and it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. To the importance of ugly and how it hits you, a good feeling. To just like every day, like, man, that's really cool.
Yeah.
You know, and I vibe off of that energy with people. Just to be able to, you know, do these things and have the opportunity and be good at it.
Yeah.
And I had to accept that I'm great at creating.
Yeah.
And that took a long time for me to say out loud. You know, to say I'm good at this.
Yeah.
I can create.
What was it that you felt like held you back from saying it or got you to accept that?
Because I think comparing with other people that you see that are creative, I think like the Rembrandts. Yeah. You know, that painting in the Sistine Chapel. This is soap. So, you know, you compare yourself, but you know what? Yeah. Which is ironic. People that look up that go, wow. There's people that look at this and go, wow. It's still on that same rainbow. It doesn't have to be and even Rembrandt can go, wow, I never thought about that. Right. Or Mozart listen to Timberland. Right. Whoa, and Timberland listen to Mozart. You know, and we all and we all vibe off of each other. We all vibe off of each other. And somebody come with a different, hey, you ever think about that? Yo, that's decent. So it took, like I said, it just took a while. Yeah. And I guess it would realize when I started realizing, when I started coming up with like just coming up with stuff, and even to the point where I'll say sometimes, like, I'll laugh at my mind and go, "Oh, that's pretty funny. Thank you, mind." and right hand up. I have a shirt that's being made by the end, or logo being made by the end of this week, because all the Philadelphia Eagle fans. Yeah. Right? And I've never seen it, and I asked Eagle fans, and it says Philadelphia Fight and Flight, right? Fight and Flight. Yeah. But it's PHIGHT. Like fight and flight with the PHL. Never seen that. So I'm like, I know somebody knows that. She's an Eagle fan. Yeah. She's an artist. Start. Hey, can you make this? Yeah, I'll have it by the end of the week. All right. Start getting those printed up. Yeah. Start selling them, because you know the Eagles fans. Yeah. That's easy income. For sure. But it's like, that's how I think. And it's like, so I'll do research before I do it. And I'm like, But you know, I've seen in years past ugly stuff. You gotta love yourself. Yeah. No one's ever the originator. That's another thing. No one's ever originator. But I embodied this so much. I'm sorry, this one. It's like this one. I embodied ugly so much. When people see ugly stuff, they think it's mine. Yeah. They think it's mine. So now ugly, for me, because of the importance of what it stands for, I'm okay share it. Yeah. Because this is the message that I care about. Now, hip hop's different. Right. I don't want anybody taking hip hop. Right. So I cover, but ugly, it's the message that comes with it. So if somebody's like, I've seen another, I'm like, good. Right. Good. That message needs to be out there. I'm not in competition with them. Right. It needs that needs to have a voice. Right. I have different designs of different things, different avenues and things I've been on. Like I said, I try to talk to kids. I talked to 8,000 kids. Yeah. From 2008 to 2012, I talked to over 8,000 kids in Lancaster County about business, but also the importance of ugly. Yeah. So that's the avenue I took. Yeah, you're trying to make a profit, but I'm doing more. Right. As I said, I tattooed it on my hand. I mean, I embodied it. Right. You know. Right. Yeah. It's powerful. But I said it's the reflection, and also the to remember that me coming up with these is things that made me do this, and realize that it feeds off of that, and I created things, and I'm good at creating, and that's so it filters back and
flows back. Yeah, it's all connected. You gotta.
Can we just see a couple of these shirts?
Yes. So before I had the beer, I decided since I was in the Apparel game, let me do. So this is the original Hip Hop's logo, the old Run DMC. Okay. Hip Hop's, and then the Hop Nugget, and then the spray painted S. Okay. You know. Yeah. So that's my logo for Hip Hop's. Okay. And then with that, I was like, okay, what else is hip hop related? Well, my Adidas. So I did this trifold of the Hop Adidas, and the old,
like a hop.
Yeah, like the whole trifold.
That's
of
tight.
Adidas. So as I said, it was people like t-shirts, people like beer, and there's beer companies that's all they do is make t-shirts.
Yeah.
So at first my focus was, oh, I'll just do shirts.
Yeah.
And somebody said, well, why don't you do the beer? Like, so I had to really sit there and like, okay, let me start focus on the beer. Things didn't happen in Lancaster, but I kept kind of trucking along. But what I said, when I got to Jersey, when I got to Mount Laurel and reached out, it took a whole nother.
Yeah.
It's real now. And then I just these are just the logos.
Yeah. That's logos.
Yeah,
on
the logos on the shirt. Yeah. And I do have these.
Okay. Yeah, those are tight. Those are tight.
I got you. Yeah, but the beauty about having your own apparel, like I made this one for me, and there's only me that has this particular one. So it's like, but when I wear it to see the feedback I get, and people are like, hey, you had it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I know because the masters are saying this is what they want.
And we'll definitely link to all of your apparel and products.
It's gonna be there if you go through everything.
In the description.
The description's gonna be like this deep.
So we're starting to come across the tail end of this.
Yeah.
And there's a question that we always like to ask when we're rounding the conversation out.
Yes, sir.
And that is, if you were talking to your younger self, and let's take your 18, 19-year-old self, where you're on the verge of going through a lot. The you of today, talking to that self, what would you tell that person? And in that, what would you tell really anyone who is going through a lot, has a lot weighing on them, especially right now? We're still in COVID season, and COVID rates of depression, rates of anxiety, mental health in general is something that is out, shooting out the roof.
Yeah, especially with the temperature of the country.
Yeah.
And with us, we can relate to with the Floyd. And
Greg Floyd, for sure.
Man, that was if you follow me on my IG pages, I have fun, but I also let people know that I'm a black man in this world. Yeah. And I say I have a shirt and it's called I'm designed as I fit the description, but I switch it on them. I was like, I fit the description of a strong, black, powerful, like what they're scared of. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I really try to open up people's eyes, like, yeah, man, Mike, you're a great guy. I say, yeah, but when I'm not in the place where you know me, I fit the description. So if I had to talk to my 19-year-old self, one of my things would say, believe in you. Believe in you would be deep one for me. Yeah. Believe in you. And that the painting, I think it is Rembrandt, where it's God reaching out to the other hand, and the other hand. I did an illustration one time where I did my hand reaching out. I took a picture of my hand reaching out to my hand. Oh wow, it's like self-love. Yeah, like my self-love, like moment, like you can pull yourself through. Wow. Pull yourself through. Grab your own hand. Which is a weird concept to say, but grab your own hand. Yeah. And that would be, if I was looking at my 19-year-old self and the feelings I was going through right there, it's like, believe in you, because it's there. It's there. And it's like, and I tell kids I mentor, you're special, and we all, everybody watching, driving our car, we were all the strongest swimmers in our first race. I laugh every time I say it. It's like, we were all the strongest swimmers. So if you don't think you're special, like the outcome could have been totally different. You're here. It's 100%. The odds of us even just you say existing, that the odds, even being the born, odds of you even watching so this slim. Right now, man. Yeah. And you're not gonna celebrate it. Yeah. That's real. And I said you won your first race in your life. You won. Yeah. Which made you here to listen to this right now. Right. And people that's why I do that for people to the whole find that jewel. I strip that stuff away to where you really go, man, I never thought about that. Yeah, you need to start thinking about that. Right. Which might be the push that makes you see different, just in general. Yeah. It's like, yeah, I am a strong swimmer. So what can I do now that I'm here? Yeah. And how can I pass that baton. And I always say, you can, even though you're passing the baton back, you're still moving forward as a team, as a race, as a people, you know. So everything's there. I said that many times in this conversation. Yeah. It's there. We just have to recognize it.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Yeah. And I got one more question for you.
Yes, sir.
What do you do on a day-to-day to you know, take care of yourself, self-care, and also keep yourself young? Because I'm gonna be honest, you don't look a day over 35.
I appreciate that.
When you told me you were 51,
you might need to get the prescription filled. I've always been.
I don't know if it's the water. What kind of water you drinking?
I've always been one. I aspire to be like my mom. Mom's 81 and on point, man. Yeah. My dad's 78, and active, runs. My dad just got his rotator cuff messed up because he was riding his bike, somebody cut him off. Yeah. So he's still runs, still bikes, still swims. My mom on point. I've always been moving. Yeah. My mom threw me in the pool at 3. Started gymnastics when I was 4. Yeah. Started playing soccer when I was 4, and you know, so I was always like, there again, coming from that time where mom's like, go outside. It's hot outside. Go look for shade. so I've always been moving, and I've just always been in the gym. When I was skinny out of college, I was only $170, 72 out of college. Like I knew I needed to work out, so I got into that. Yeah. And I just, you know, plus it's not just to work out, but it's also that mental escape. Yeah. You know, and that's your time. I tell people that's your time, and it's you seeing what you can do for you. That's another thing. But just I try not to stress, which is hard to do. Yeah. But I try not to stress because, you know, people stress a lot, and then that just wears you down. Yeah. But I just try to keep my daily energy. I just heard something the other day, and it said that time doesn't exist. Yeah. It's like the moon. We go around the sun. Yeah. But time doesn't exist. Yeah. We just had to make time. We put lights. Yeah. But I'm in this mindset going, I want to be in my point working where I saw Busta Rhymes. He's up on 4:00 in the morning making beats because his time doesn't exist. Yeah. He doesn't have a time. It's like, and I want, and I'm feeding off that in my mind. It's like, I don't want to have time. I don't want to be what they said, a time slave. Yeah. It's hard to do, but to have that mindset to keep going, like I get up at I don't need to get up at 5:30, but I'm up. It's like I don't want to be a time slave. I can do stuff right now. Yeah, you want to own your time. Yeah. And so Toby and I, this is related but completely unrelated. Yeah. We trade options, and one of the concepts that we've learned is this idea of walking through a life without time, walking through a world without time, and that's such a powerful concept because when you can walk through a world without time, you're also able to see a lot further. Because I got you. I got you. There are a lot fewer things to worry about in the short term. So when you talk about Busta Rhymes being up at 4 a.m. just making beats and you know, really just like living the most actualized and going back to what we
version of himself
about that point A to point B. If there's no time, we can celebrate that space that we're walking in. Yeah. Like there's no time, so it's like I gotta get that point A to point B. Now you could there's no time. You're celebrating that trajectory of where you're going. You can be looking
right.
If there's no time, I can, everybody says
there's no time, there's no rush, there's no.
Right. True. A lot of things people say oh yeah, I'm 20, gotta be doing this. 25, I gotta be doing this.
They're putting that time in it.
Right.
It's like people look at me and say, man, you're doing this at 50? I was like, KFC didn't start to have his thing until he was 70. KFC's chicken thing didn't start. He was 70 years old with it, and that's when he started his. You can do it whatever, whenever. Yeah. Don't let anybody tell you that you had to be a certain age. And this, like I said, I'm 50. Yeah. And multiple businesses. I'm busier now than I was in my 20s. You know what I'm saying? But my focus is different, and for me, it's like it wasn't supposed to happen until now. Yeah. But as I said, if it didn't happen, I'm right where it was right now. Like we were saying, it all comes back, bro.
100%. 100%.
It all comes back.
So, do you have anything to say before we wrap up?
Yeah, just one last question. Just looking back or looking forward. 5 years from now, what's your vision for all the brands you have in your umbrella right now, or where do you expect yourself to be?
Definitely for the beard, I definitely, because I said the power of hip hop itself, the substance of hip hop. Sedgwick Ave, with that name, is the foundation of hip hop. So now with that, I can take Sedgwick Ave anywhere in the globe and start a beer company. And I can develop it around their first MC, their first dancer, their first rapper. I can develop a beer company with that. So I would love to have a Sedgwick Ave somewhere not in the United States that's developed around there, like Germany or Asia. Doesn't matter. I can drop Sedgwick Ave because it started in Brooklyn. But it's global. So I can take Sedgwick Ave because Miller Lite is everywhere, but it's just a beer everywhere. Where this has substance, I can drop it there. So for the beer, I would love to have that.
So it's kind of like a trap museum worldwide, you know, not having Atlanta, but
yeah. So that for Ugly, I would love for the Ugly brand where this business and this like the other businesses bringing in the money, right?
Yeah.
For the business, for the glow of the business, which lets me push that without worrying about profit more. And being able to just spread that. And one of my favorite sayings is ugly's epidemic. You can't quarantine love.
Yeah.
And I want to spread the academic, which is, I think, and really funny, ugly's epidemic. But there again, we talk about the layers of everything. You can't quarantine love.
Yeah.
And this is the best time for even those words to be even coming out.
Yeah.
So ugly's epidemic, and so I just want to keep spreading that epidemic without having the hindrance of, I need to sell a T-shirt. I'd rather here have a T-shirt, man. Have a T-shirt.
Yeah.
This is, and take that.
Yeah.
But the power from everything else, bringing in the profit where it can let me do that.
And I'll definitely thank you for coming on this show.
No, thank you for having me.
Where can people find you, engage with you, get in touch with you?
So like I said, my IG, I don't have any Facebook. I'm just on Instagram right now. Definitely, and you can always reach out. Like I said, it's the Hip Hop's Craft Beer _& Apparel. And then Ugly is UGOTTALOVEYOUR. What am I thinking? Oh, first, F1 RST. You gotta love yourself first. So you reach out to me on those social medias and I connect, and I'm good about getting back with people all the time, man. I don't mess around. Somebody reaches out to me, which was a problem. Not to say a problem, but I had to separate myself a little bit because I felt like I was everybody's therapist with Ugly for a while because people would reach out and be like, hey, what do you do? But that's why if this takes off, I can do more.
You can do more of that
with people. Like say I'm not about money with this with this one.
Listen, thank you for coming on to another episode of Pepper Soup Talk.
Yes,
We're here with creative business owner of Sedgwick Ave 73
Hip Hops
and
the Ugly One
and the representative of Ugly.
Yeah, man. Representative Ugly.
Ugly representative.
Appreciate that.
We'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.